So hi, welcome to Come Knit With Me. Unfortunately, there's no us today. There's no Come Knit With Us. There's just Come Knit With Me. So, my name is Kim, otherwise known as Kimmy Knits, Kimiknits, on Instagram, Ravelry, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. And I am half of the hosting team of Come Knit With Us, which is the podcast that I'm sure you tuned in expecting to see. And I am sorry. How's my bangs? How's my bangs? They looking all right? I must apologize, but we had some technical difficulties today. Actually, what we had was a bunch of sick knitters today. A bunch of under the weather, not feeling well knitters. So Sam, Kermit Von Frog 12, and Kermit Von Frog on her various social media was not feeling well today. Neither was the Silent Unicorn Candace. So they weren't able to come to knitting today. And since they didn't go, I figured I'm not going to drive all the way out there all by myself. So I stayed home today too. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, however you want to look at it, I was already made up. So I had already spent my 2.5, 3 hours putting on this face for knitting before I found out that we weren't going to go, or that they had weren't feeling well. So I figured, since I was already all made up and I have the camera, and we're already going to miss 2 weeks of podcasting next week and the week after, I figured I probably should try and put something together, even though it's a little haphazard, and hope you guys can struggle through with just me. And I am sorry, it's not going to be as much fun, probably won't be as long, or then again, I don't know. I have a tendency to ramble on and on and on, so it could be quite long. I also do not have my partner with the timer, Sam. So hopefully I remember to keep checking my time so that this doesn't get shut off like it always did when I did my spinning videos. So anyway, that was a long-winded introduction to how was your week? How's things? How's it going? I had a relatively average week, just the normal, back to my regular schedule, which was very nice. In the office a couple of days, which was not so nice because I hate that drive. The commute is just brutal. But other than that, it was actually an okay week. I didn't do a whole lot. There wasn't anything really exciting that happened this week. But it was just an average week. I started watching, I don't watch a lot of episodic TV, so like week-to-week shows I don't watch a whole lot of, but this week started the RuPaul's Drag Race Season 7. Very exciting. And what I normally end up doing is just recording them and then binge watching them closer to the end, but this time I actually watched the first episode, and it was all right. I haven't picked a favorite yet, but I'm sure that Sam and I will pick our favorites throughout the season, and they kind of change. I think last year I loved Bianca Del Rio from the very beginning, and I did not love Adore Delano from the very beginning, but I learned to love her, so I have a feeling there are a few front runners for me so far, but I'm not going to mention them until Sam and I have a chance to talk. Navi, I hope you're watching as well, and any of the rest of you that love yourself a good drag queen. Hope you're watching Drag Race Season 7. So good on Logo TV. And the Untucked, I don't know if they're going to do it every week, but the Untucked, that's the behind the scenes that they do right after the show, was online this week. It wasn't on TV. So that was weird. So I had to go to the computer and watch it, but that was pretty good too. So I watched that this week. I watched the first episode of Season 2 of The Following with Kevin Bacon. If any of you watch that show, I didn't. But I had really nothing to do that night, so I watched that first episode, and it was pretty good. So now I'm going back to watch Season 1 on Netflix. I don't know, was it Season 2 of The Following or Season 3? Might be Season 3. I don't know, I'm so bad. Anywho, let's see, what's my time look like? And while I'm looking at my time, how's my bangs? How about a solo sippy? Doing a solo sippy with my extra large solo cup this week. It's not the same as the triple sippy that we had last week. Isn't that weird? Last week we had an extra co-host with Liz, the travel correspondent, and this week we have one less with just me. Just, ugh. So, okay, I'm knitting on a sock. Believe it or not, I'm knitting. Let's see, I've got half of the first segment still, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do Rainbow Shout Out, Rainbow Shout Out. I actually typed it up this week, and no one's gonna see that but me. But anyway, it is time for Jeffrey, Stephen, Gay Positive Bakery Bears. And I do have a gelato giraffe. This is Sam has the 2 gelato giraffes, Gail, and I don't remember what the other one's name is. Tootie, maybe? I can't remember. But I do have a gelato giraffe, so we'll do 2 bakery bears and gelato giraffe. Gay positive. Time for Rainbow Shout Out. This week we do have 1 new member, which is exciting. So let's get started. The Rainbow Shout Out is to recognize, as always, our out and proud LGBTQ friends, followers, group members, YouTube subscribers, Ravelry group members, Instagram followers, whoever. If you watch our podcast, if you know the Come Knit With Us team and you are out and proud and you would like to be included in the Rainbow Shout Out, just drop us a line in any of the social media outlets that we are on, which would be Instagram, Ravelry, YouTube, Twitter, and let us know that you'd like to be added to the Rainbow Shout Out and we will add you. So this week we begin with Navi Sama, Ron Strong, Lucas, Celtic Lucas, Ross, who's Funko Boy, Casey Andrew, Kenneth and Randall, Kendall. Kenneth also has a podcast under the Turbo Knitter. Dennis and Rudy, James, Dancing Geek, who also has a podcast, Jonathan Grierson, David and Michael, Sean, Nitty Cub, Cheeky Boy, Christopher, Knits with Balls, Drew, Mission Knit Possible, Jake of Snake Knits, Michael, Pogo Mike, Barry, Bear Knits, Cameron Jolie, Cami Lammy, Jenny Lynn Knits, Maya, Shomaline, Polly Knits, Katie Buttercup, Emily, Crochet Knit 2, Mikey Jr., Mike, Codfish, Joe, Rick Nigel, Whimsy Stitches, Brian Knits 12, B Rocker, Brenda, The Knitting Mill, who are Mill and Carrie, Glenn Dragone, Joe Guffey, Joe Guff 1977, He Knits 8269, and our newest member this week is Jen, Kastia 13, Kastia 13, so it's Kastia or Kasha 13. Let me know if I'm saying that wrong, but welcome to the group, and yay, Rainbow Shout Out, yay, Gay Positive, we are your allies, we are allies. Oh, that seems kind of weird when it's just me doing it, doesn't it? Anywho, so I think that's going to be the end of the first segment, and I will be right back with segment 2. Hang on. And I'm back. You know, this is honest to goodness. I cannot tell a lie. The second time I am trying to record a podcast today, because the first time, oh, they better know, this cup better not break. I'm not having good luck with these cups this week. The first time I recorded this, the lighting was really horrific, and I looked 90 years old. And I'm old, but I don't want to look old, and when I spend this much time putting this makeup on, I need better lighting than that. So we're trying it again with better lighting. Sippy. Okay, segment 2. It's just me. I don't have a whole lot. Normally we would be doing showgirls, and I don't have my boas, so I'm not singing sexy showgirls all by myself, but it's time for sexy showgirls. And the only things that I am working on are still the Cool Hoss hat for my brother, This is the Cool Hoss pattern by Jared Flood of Brooklyn Tweed. And the yarn is Madeline Tosh Vintage in the Fathoms colorway. Still have not finished that hat. And he's still covered in snow, so I still have time to do it, but I feel really guilty. The other thing I'm working on is obviously these plain vanilla socks that I am not super happy with. So chances of me finishing this pair, pretty slim to be honest. But it's a mono steel Uruguay sock yarn, and I love the colors in the hank, and I love them wound up in the ball, but I do not love them knit up because they are pooling and flashing, and I am not a fan of pooling and flashing. So we'll see. They're definitely not going to be for me, so I'm not sure if I will get them finished or not. What I'd really like to do is cast that one off and then wind this up and cast on for these, which this is another one of the skeins. When we went out to Desert Vista Dye Works, Susan Hayes, we went out to her open house. She had an open house at her home in Wickenburg, and we drove up for the day, and it was fantastic. We posted a bunch of pictures on Instagram. I'm sorry, my neck is killing me today. Posted a bunch of pictures on Instagram, and this was one of the skeins that I got. It's called Are You a Parrot Head? And it's a self-striping sock yarn, and I would love to cast on and make another pair of socks with her sock yarn. So that's what I would really like to do. Okay, I know what else I'm working on. For those of you who are familiar with Susan Claudino, she has a group on Ravelry, and she is a pattern designer, and she does mainly, I think I shouldn't say, but she does stuffies, little toys. She does patterns for little toys, and her most recent is called Bon Bon, and it is a pattern for an adorable little bunny, and I'll show you the bunny. It's a paid for pattern on Ravelry. Hopefully that's focusing in. But it is Bon Bon, and Candace, the silent unicorn, wanted to make a little toy for a baby, and was looking at Susan Claudino's patterns, and I mentioned Bon Bon, so we are supposed to be casting on and doing that together. So even though we're not seeing each other today, I figured I might as well go ahead and cast on. So I have cast on for Bon Bon. This is the leg. I'm using the Malabrigo Rios because I'm obsessed with Malabrigo Rios, obviously. And this is another one of the sandbar colorway. I used this to make this cowl, if you all remember. Fluffy K made one. I think Drew from Mission Knit Possible, Drew, I think you made one too. I think yours might have been green. But we kind of did a little bit of a knit along. And oh my gosh, I cannot remember the name of this pattern. I am so sorry. I will try and find it and link it in our Ravelry group. I always start a thread for the new episodes, and I will try and link the pattern if I can find it. I'm sure I can. I'll just have to go back through my Instagram, but I'll tell you the name of this pattern. I just don't remember it off the top of my head. I'm really sorry. But it's the same colorway that I used for that, and I have leftovers, and I'm going to play some yarn chicken because the pattern itself calls for 50 grams, so like a half of a ball, about 100 to 110 yards of worsted weight. And I think this may be a little less than half of the ball, and I have a little bit left over from another project. I think this was a bankhead hat that I made. Dan, bankhead hat, points me. But I'm working on that as well. And I think that's all that I have that I'm working on knitting wise. I am working on some crochet. Okay, I've got crochet on the brain. Oh, who is that? Oh, okay. Somebody's texting me while I'm trying to podcast. Oh my God. And it totally made me lose my train of thought. Oh, I was giving Kay grief because I've got crochet on the brain because you're making that beautiful crocheted granny square blanket that I think is just beautiful. Oh, no more, no more, no more. Okay, so I am not crocheting, I am quilting. I am doing some quilting. So I brought out the section of the quilt that I'm making for my son so that I could show you that. And then I've got a couple of quilt books that I can show off. I ordered some fabric this week, nothing too extravagant, but we got our performance reviews for work this week, or this past week. I think I got it last Friday. And I had a good review, which I was hoping I would because I worked really hard last year. So it made a little tiny bit of a difference. So I rewarded myself by buying a little bit of fabric, not a ton, but I got a little bit. So as that comes rolling in the mail, I will show it to you. But since I have nothing new there, let me pause a moment and grab that, and I will be right back. Hang on. And I'm back. So I have been working this week a little bit on the quilt that I am making for my son. It is a square in a square quilt pattern. I got this from an online tutorial, and this just, gosh, the viewfinder makes it look like it's not focusing, but hopefully it is. It's called Square in a Square at Missouri Star Quilt Company, and Missouri Star, did I say Missouri Star Quilt Company? They have a YouTube channel as well where they have a lot of tutorials, and this was one of the tutorials, and I really love the square in a square pattern. The fabric line is Red, White, and Free by Moda, and I thought that it would work well for a boy. And so I finished all the squares, and now I am piecing them together with the stashing in between. And then once I get all the rows done, I can put those together, and then I'll have my quilt top. And then I'm going to try quilting it myself because I don't know anyone with a long arm for quilting, and if I send it out, it's extremely expensive, and I figure I can do some straight line quilting on my machine. I do have a walking foot, thank you, Candace. So I should be able to do that, so I'm going to give it a go. I would like my first quilt that I give my son to be all made by me anyway, so if it's wonky, it's wonky. I don't think he's going to judge. So I'm doing that. Let's see what else. I got a couple of quilt books. A couple of weeks ago, I think. I picked one of them up this past weekend. Didn't I? Or no, the weekend before I picked it up. And then the other one was mailed to me, and this one I got is 100 quilt blocks. It's a Tula Pink. I love Tula Pink's fabrics, and I have some. They're not that easy to come by anyway, not easy for me. And I have some, I don't have a ton, but this book itself, I was kind of meh. I think I expected a little bit more. It's okay, but it's nothing, I mean, nothing fantastic. It does show off her fabric very well, but as far as for quilt blocks, I wasn't as impressed as I had hoped to be. But the other book, and I showed a picture of this on Instagram as well, I am in love with this book. Patchwork City by Elizabeth Hartman. This book is amazing. The quilt blocks in it are, I'm not going to show you a ton, but it's got some amazing blocks in it. And I love the fact that every single block that she shows you, for example, she gives you one, and then she gives you a couple of options for different colors. And I'm not showing anything that you couldn't do a flip and see inside at Amazon, so I'm not, copyright infringing on her or anything. But this is such an exceptional book. And if you like quilting, if you're looking for a book of some different quilt blocks, there are things. My kitchen window is behind me, and I keep seeing birds and trucks and, I don't know, stuff going on. Sorry, I seem distracted. But this is an exceptional book. I absolutely love it. I can't wait to make some of the quilts that are in it. What else? Oh, I feel like I had more stuff to talk about in my last one. I don't think I did, actually. I think it just feels that way. So, I do have a segment that I already recorded that I am going to include when I edit this together, where I took you outside into my backyard I rewatched a little of it just to make sure that it turned out, and I think if you get motion sick, because I do, I about made myself motion sick, so be prepared, because I was kind of showing the backyard and I think I was moving the camera a little bit too much. So sorry in advance if you have issues with motion sickness. You might want to fast forward through that section or just skip it altogether. But I did take you out in the backyard. We're having some really nice weather. I hate to complain because I know so many people are buried in ice and snow right now and wishing that winter was over because they're sick of it. And here we are having these beautiful warm days. It's very sunny. We've got lots of green grass, but it's getting very warm very early. It's unseasonably high temperatures, which we have had. We just had a lovely week this past week where the temperatures finally went back down closer to normal. We had a little bit of rain, and so it cooled off enough at night that, you know, the house would stay cool and the air wasn't running, which was really nice. I complain about so many things. I'm a terrible. It's who I am as a person. I'm a complainer. And you guys know I've had so many issues with my car. And on top of having so many issues with my car, I have issues with my air conditioning as well. Out here, the summers are so brutal and it gets so hot, and your air conditioning out here takes a beating. You can't live in Phoenix if you don't have air conditioning. And the air conditioners don't last very long, and they are extremely expensive. So the AC in this house, we have 2 units because it's a 2-story. So when something goes wrong, I'm looking at normally both units. So I am kind of, nervous about this summer and whether they're going to last another year or not, because with the temperatures being so warm already, that just puts so much wear and tear on your AC. So every time I hear the AC kick on, I get that little knot in the pit of my stomach. Do you guys get that? Just a knot of anxiety every time I hear it come on, because I think, is it going to work? Is it working right? Is it cooling everything? How much longer is it going to work? Ugh. I'm just an anxiety-ridden mess when it comes to my car and my air conditioning. Terrible. But the temperatures are really beautiful this week. They were in the 70s. Now this weekend they're up into the 80s, and by the end of this coming week we are going to be in the upper 80s. So it is only the first, second week of March and we're already close to 90 degrees. Ugh, I am not looking forward to this summer. Hopefully we get a couple more cool downs. I'm not counting on it, but it would be nice if we don't, hit the 90s and then it's on our way to 100 and we never go back down. But anyway, what have I done this week? I already told you that I had a decent week. I watched James and Dawn, the Wolf Farms podcast. I watched them on Monday. Always enjoy spending time with you too. It was very enjoyable. I watched Dan and Kay, who put up the Bakery Bears episode 20 podcast yesterday while I was at work, Dirty Trick. And by the time I got home, I had maybe a half an hour to watch a little bit of it before we went to dinner. And then after we got home from dinner, about another half hour to watch. God, my nose is itchy again. My nose was itchy last week, and you guys were telling me in the comments on YouTube what that meant. And I think some people said that it was somebody was coming to visit you, and another person said, oh, it means you're going to get in a fight with somebody. I don't know. It was so weird, but now my nose is itchy today too, so I don't know. I don't think anybody came to visit me that I'm aware of, and I didn't get in a fight with anybody, so I'm not sure what that is. But anyway, I only got to watch about an hour's worth of the podcast, and I think it's a 2-hour one this time. So I am looking forward to watching the rest of that later on today and enjoying that as well. I saw a few other podcasts this week. I know, I believe Benjamin Crudwig had another one. I think he does his live on Friday nights. I think you do that, right, Ben? And Mikey Jr., The Ermine Matters. I think that's the name of his. I think he put out his second one. I've got to go watch that as well. I saw a few quilting videos this week. I didn't get a lot of podcast watching done because I was really busy work-wise and didn't have a whole lot of extra time. Plus, my son did a little school overnighter. It was so weird. They didn't leave town. They just went downtown, and they ended up staying at a hotel overnight downtown because they had a competition that they had to start. They competed all day Monday, then they stayed overnight at a hotel Monday night, and then began competing again very early Tuesday morning. So he was away from home, and that was a little nerve-wracking. So I didn't get a whole lot done Monday night or Tuesday. So I wish I'd seen some other ones. Who else had a podcast? Who wants to say hi? I did get to spend some time on Instagram. So Sean, my nitty cub, you had quite the week. Who else? Barry, I saw you were down covered in snow in DC, I think. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. So I just totally got cut off. And I don't know where. These are the spoils of trying to do the podcast all by myself without my partner in crime. See how bad it is when Sam's not here? This is just terrible. And since I'm getting cut off, and since while I was getting cut off, I noticed that my cell phone is blowing up. I'm getting like 8,000 text messages right now. And I really don't think I have anything else to show. And I don't think I have anything else to talk about. I do have a segment to add at the end where I show you my backyard as my favorite places to knit, my homage to Dan and Kay. Although they go outside and they find castles to go knit at, I myself don't leave my yard, so it's just my hot backyard with green grass and green trees and some flowers. So I'm just going to end here, send you over to my out and about, and then I'll be back here just to close out the show. Okie doke. So snap your fingers and you'll be outside. Snap! We're outside. So here we go. This is one of my favorite places to knit, my backyard. This is green grass. For those of you who haven't seen it for a while because yours is buried under the snow. This is my backyard. Here's the back of my house. Am I making anybody seasick with the panorama yet? There's the basketball hoop from when my son was little. Here's my big tree, my ficus. And this is the tree that has the hummingbird feeder in it. There's my hummingbird feeder. If you follow me on Instagram, you have seen pictures of the hummingbird feeding at that feeder that my husband took. That was a fun weekend when we did that. Here is one of my, this is actually, I don't even know what I would call it. This is a lantana bush, but it was, it took over this area by force. Pardon me, I did not plant that bush. I had some other bushes that were there. You can't see them anymore because they have been strangled and are in the middle of this lantana bush. And it blew in and came over as a weed, what I thought was a weed. And my landscaper wanted to see what it turned into, so he convinced me to let it grow. And it became that gigantic monstrosity, and now it's too big to get rid of. But it's really gross. Oh, there she goes. You're not supposed to be running in the gravel, Shmamie. These have these lovely orange flowers on them, but not that many, and we're covered in bees. Any Eddie Izzard fans? Covered in bees! These are my bottle brush. The red flowers, they're weird looking flowers, but these red flowers on these bottle brushes are just the most amazing shade of red. I don't think they pick up very well. Oh, Shmamie just flushed a bird. Did you just flush a bird? God, she is just a bird dog through and through. A water bird dog through and through. We have tons and tons of honeybees all over this. So I know you guys that are worried about the honeybees dying. we're helping you out here in Arizona for sure. Let's see. My bougainvillea were damaged horribly by the freeze last year and are still trying very hard to come back. I love bougainvillea blossoms. They are just beautiful. Oh, there goes the hummingbird. This is my paltry, sad little lime tree. It's got some sort of mold or fungus or something that has been killing branches off of it, but it still produces so much fruit that I can't replace it at this point. And I've already replaced my lemon tree. Can you see those beautiful blooms? If you could smell, I wish you had smell-o-vision, because oh my gosh, it smells so beautiful on this side of my house. This is my lemon tree. There are some blooms that are starting. They're just buds. They haven't actually opened yet. I don't know if I've got any buds that have opened. There's some more pretty little buds on my lemon tree. This is the second lemon tree I've had over here. The first one was called, I believe, my landscaper called it a ponderosa lemon. And the lemons were the size of basketballs. Good Lord, they were as big as my head. And they were awful. All pith, hated them. So I had that tree taken out after, I think 2 years, maybe 2 years we let it go. And then I had it taken out. So this is my grass still. Oh, and my dog has gone back in the house. So I will head back in and I'll be right back. Okay. That was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed seeing my backyard, and I hope I didn't make you too seasick. I think I am done for today. I'm really, really sorry again that we didn't have a regular podcast today. Everybody just wasn't feeling very well, and to be quite honest, I woke up with a splitting headache today too. I think probably because I had a glass of wine last night with dinner. My husband and son and I went out to dinner last night, and I did actually have a glass of wine, and it was delicious, so it was very worth it. But I did wake up with a headache this morning, so that's probably why. So I am going to end it here. I'm going to do some uploading, maybe do a little bit of sewing later on. And I appreciate you guys struggling through this boring podcast with just me, and I am sorry about it not being both of us, but we will see you again the weekend of the 28th. So just as a reminder, we won't be podcasting next week, the 14th, or the week after that, the 21st, because of prior commitments. So thank you guys so much. I love you guys, and I'll see you again with Sam back, so we'll have a regular podcast on the 28th. So love you guys. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.